Beginning of August 1915, the Republic of Korea is in a state of shock. Last 2 months they have lost untold number of formed regiments, lost, missing or fleeing in headlong retreat. 3 regiments are left standing in service. The North Korean army has taken Seoul, the capital, all the way down, they're down to Daejeon, and they are threatening Kumcheon there. They have a central front, a western front down the coast here, which can threaten to curl up to Busan and Masan here, and they even have an eastern front division pushing down that way. The North Koreans have suffered heavy losses, so that's a step, 1 out of 3 steps on 2 of their divisions, only another one here. The rest are doing fine. The Americans, or the United Nations Far East Command, I guess it's just the Americans at this point, have sent in 3 divisions to support the effort, and 2 flights of aircraft, and have decided on intervention of, let me see, that will actually be, at the moment, just those 2 divisions, then some extra regiments, a battalion from the UN here, some marine regiments, and then armoured and air assets. So that is the intervention decided to try and help save the Republic of Korea from communist North Korean incursion. Now, I've actually found out how Seoul can be taken on the first turn. It's essentially, because you get, well, on the first turn you only get 2 actions per operation, per unit operation. On the second and from then on you get 3. But essentially what you would do is you perform an attack on your first action, and then move, hopefully you're successful, then you move in and perform, if another unit is adjacent, you perform a second attack. So potentially you could perform 3 attacks if you have enemy units lined up sort of in a row, because you would destroy this one, advance after combat, destroy that one, advance after combat, and then on turns 2 and forward you could even do another one. So, defences will, to have any effect, will not line up like that. They will have gaps in between, so you have to spend an action to move up to the next. So I've now found out how to do that. I think basically I've been quite cautious, because if you spend 2 actions you get an intensive attack, if you spend 3 actions you get an all-out attack, you get a bonus on the die roll. That may not be necessary if you have armoured assets, because at this point you tend to get a bonus anyway. So the North Koreans have been doing that, and I haven't met the defence. That's the South Korean losses. So this is the situation at the beginning of game turn 3, at the end of game turn 2. On game turn 2, the UN went to intervention level 3, as already decided. I don't need to escalate this at game turn 3. We've got mobilisation 1 and rules of engagement 1. So that means there's sort of minimum air interdiction allowed, and we've only got 1 amphibious evasion possible a turn, and we don't have any extra units coming in from extra mobilisation. So the global tension is still at 0, which is great, and I'm on the 14 to 15 destabilization value, which basically means there's no chance of the global tension rising. That will go up if and when certain interventions happen, and I increase my levels of commitment as the UN player. So that's where we stand at the end of game turn 2. So yes, we're looking forward to, at the start of game turn 3, 2 regiments coming in. Oh, we've actually got 2 regiments the first action phase, another division and 2 more regiments second action phase, and then these armoured assets, plus some air. I think there's actually some B-29 bombers in there as well. Yeah, a couple of those, so we will be able to start getting some decent interdiction going on. Okay, so and victory points stand at 10, which is the number of victory points the city is still held by Republic of Korea with UN US assistance at the end of July 1950. So I've just been helping myself some player aids to help me with the UN levels of commitment. If, as my rule of engagement is at level 1, that means we can perform air interdiction below the 38th parallel. If it was, so that's all these areas. If it was level 2, we can perform air interdiction in these ones here. Level 3, or these ones here as well, and then level 4, even that far one as well. Levels 5 to 7, then we actually get a plus on our interdiction table die roll modifier. So die roll. So, and that will go against North Korean depot supplies, which could it hampers them, but not as much as you might think, because when they have Chinese intervention, which they're going to get unrestricted and maybe full, that's 3 turns each time, or maybe 3 and then 2, where they don't have to worry about depots. So that's about almost half of the whole game. So really you want, if you're going to do that, you want to get that in before that happens. So I don't see it's that useful going that high, especially because global tension is going to increase. So I'm going to stay at 1. So we've got freedom of airstrike all the way around here, so that's fine. Then similarly for mobilization, there's 4 steps of mobilization. So essentially I'm at 1 now, which is just the basic, which means I get 1 amphibious landing possibility a turn. If I went to 2, I'd have 2 amphibious landing possibilities. And then if I went, but then that would add 3 points, so that would bring me up to the next level on the global tension due to 3 more destabilization points, which then brings me down on a 10. So I could do that at the moment and I still wouldn't get any global tension increase, but as soon as, say, the Chinese invade Formosa, which I think they can do on game turn 4 or 5, then there's a 1 in 10 chance of me getting intervention. So that is sort of a decent gamble. Then if I go up to 3, that's going to increase it by 7 points from where I am now at 1, which would take me up 2 columns. With another 1 in 10 chance increase. That we could get to 2 in 10 with Formosa invasion. But that then gives me 2 extra divisions, but they come in 6 turns later than when I accelerate. So I'm going to have to accelerate quickly if I want to get those. And then similarly, if I go up to 4, I get 2 more divisions, again 6 turns later. So really all these escalation decisions need to be made early for them to have much benefit. The escalation on the intervention can happen as and when you need it, because the effect will be immediate. But anyway, it means that I'm going to stay at low global tension, hopefully. But anyway, definitely low level of commitment for the foreseeable future, at least for the next 2 turns, until these reinforcements run out, and then we'll see. So yeah, it's not recommended that you put these on this track to remind you, but there's nothing to remind you of that, and that in the game. It's just in the rule book. So it's taken me a while for those differences to soak in because I keep having to check it in the rule book. So just with little reminders like this, and then what I wrote on there, helps me to absorb that information, really assimilate it much better.